The grand chamber on Celestia Prime was enormous. Crystal walls stretched up toward a dome that showed the stars beyond. Alien beings from 100 different worlds sat in curved rows, looking down at the center where Daniel Wright stood alone. The human ambassador wore a simple black suit, his hands clasped behind his back as he waited. The Galactic Council had ruled this part of space for 12,000 years. They decided which species could explore new worlds. They decided who could have weapons. They decided everything, and nobody ever said no to them. Cassander rose from his seat at the highest point in the chamber. He was Vrelneth, nearly 10 feet tall with gray-scaled skin and 4 arms. His voice boomed through the hall without needing any technology to amplify it. Humanity has been observed for 50 Earth years since you achieved faster-than-light travel. We have watched your expansion. We have studied your history. And we have reached a decision. Daniel said nothing. He simply watched and waited. Your species is too violent. Your history is filled with wars. You fight each other constantly. You create weapons that can destroy entire planets. You are dangerous to the peaceful species of this galaxy. Other council members nodded their agreement. The Pelthon representative made a clicking sound that meant approval. The Zarian delegate's skin changed to a color that showed satisfaction. Cassander continued. Therefore, the Council has decided that humanity must accept our guidance. You will close all military academies. You will dismantle your outer colonies beyond your 5th planet. You will surrender control of all warships to Council oversight. You will allow Council observers on Earth to ensure compliance. And if we refuse? Daniel asked quietly. The chamber fell silent. Several aliens made sounds of shock. Nobody refused the Council. Cassander's eyes narrowed. Then we will consider humanity a threat to galactic peace. We will quarantine your system. If you attempt to leave, we will use force. If you resist, we will ensure your species never travels the stars again. Daniel looked around the chamber slowly, meeting the eyes of as many council members as he could. Some looked back with pity, others with satisfaction, a few with something that might have been fear, though they hid it well. How long do we have to decide? Daniel asked. 90 Earth days. We are not unreasonable. We understand you need time to accept reality. Daniel nodded once. Then I will return to Earth and deliver your message. He turned and walked toward the exit. His footsteps echoed in the silent chamber. When he reached the door, he paused and looked back. You are making a mistake, he said simply. Cassander laughed, and soon the entire chamber joined in. It was a sound Daniel would remember for the rest of his life. The human transport ship departed Celestia Prime 3 hours later. Daniel sat in the command chair, staring at the view screen as the planet shrank behind them. His second officer, a young woman named Katie Sullivan, approached carefully. Sir, should I send the coded message to Earth? Yes, use Protocol 7. They need to know immediately. Katie hesitated. Do you think the Council will really attack us? Daniel looked at her. She was 26 years old, fresh from the academy, excited to see the galaxy. She had no idea what was about to happen. Yes, he said. They have crushed 47 species who refused their terms. They believe we will surrender like all the others. Will we? Daniel smiled, but there was no humor in it. No, we will not. The message reached Earth 16 hours later. President Lauren Hayes read it 3 times in her office before calling an emergency meeting. Within 2 hours, every major government leader on Earth was connected by secure video link. The military chiefs were present. The intelligence directors were present. And sitting quietly in the corner was Admiral Kevin Barnes, the man responsible for Earth's defense fleet. Lauren addressed them all. You have read Ambassador Wright's report. The Council has given us 90 days to surrender our freedom or face extermination. I am not going to ask for a vote on whether we comply. We all know the answer. The question is how we respond. General Scott Palmer, head of Earth's combined military forces, spoke first. We cannot win a conventional war. The Council has 300 member species, thousands of warships. They have technology we are only beginning to understand. Then we do not fight a conventional war. Admiral Kevin said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. He stood and walked to the display screen, pulling up a star map. The Council is used to enemies who fight like them. Big fleets. Territory control. Honorable combat by their rules. They expect us to gather our ships and defend Earth. What are you suggesting? Lauren asked. Kevin's eyes were cold. We are humans. We are predators. We evolved from hunters who brought down animals 10 times our size. We survived ice ages and plagues and each other. We did not get to the top of our food chain by being fair. He zoomed in on the border regions between human space and Council territory. We have 90 days. We will use every single one of them. We will go dark. Complete communications blackout. Every human ship returns to Sol system as far as the Council knows. But that is not what really happens. Scott leaned forward. What really happens? Kevin smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. We send out our hunter teams. Small ships, stealth technology, the best soldiers we have ever trained, and they start making Council ships disappear. No battles, no honor, no survivors. Just empty space where patrol ships used to be. Lauren was quiet for a moment. You are talking about a campaign of terror. No, Kevin said firmly. I am talking about survival. The Council thinks we are prey because we are new to space. They think we are weak because we are young. They need to learn the truth, which is, humans are the scariest thing they have ever encountered. We do not give up. We do not surrender. And when someone threatens us, we do not just fight back. We hunt them down and we eliminate them. The room was silent. Finally, Lauren spoke. Admiral Barnes, you have full authority to implement your strategy. General Palmer, provide him with whatever resources he needs. Everyone in this room understands what we are about to do. We are declaring war on the most powerful government in the galaxy. They declared war on us, Kevin corrected. We are just going to finish it. Ambassador Daniel Wright arrived on Earth 2 days later. He met with Lauren and Kevin in a secure facility deep underground. After hearing their plan, he sat back in his chair. The Council will never see it coming, he said. That is the idea, Kevin replied. They have never fought humans before. They do not know what we are capable of when we are truly threatened. Daniel looked at both of them. There is no going back from this. Once we start, we are committed. Lauren nodded. I know, but the alternative is slavery or death. I would rather die fighting. We are not going to die, Kevin said quietly. They are. The orders went out that night. Across human space, military units began preparing. Special forces teams received new assignments. Ship crews trained on stealth systems. Weapons that had been experimental were rushed into production, and in the darkness between stars, humanity's hunters began to move. The Shadow Runner drifted through deep space like a ghost. No lights, no emissions, no sound except the quiet breathing of 12 crew members who had trained for this moment their entire lives. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Phillips stood behind the pilot's chair, watching the sensor display with patient eyes. Target in range, whispered Amy Carter from the sensor station. She was 24 years old and could read sensor data better than anyone in the fleet. Frelneth cruiser, 3 escort ships. Standard patrol formation. Ryan studied the display. The Council ships moved in a straight line, confident and obvious. They had no idea humans were watching them. They had no idea humans had been watching them for 6 weeks. Katie, bring us closer. Silent approach angle from their sensor blind spot. Katie Sullivan adjusted the controls with careful precision. The Shadow Runner moved like a stalking cat, positioning itself perfectly. In the crew quarters below, Sergeant Ben Hayes and his assault team checked their weapons one final time. This was the 17th Council patrol they had intercepted. By now, the routine was smooth. But Ryan never allowed complacency. One mistake meant death for all of them. Range 1,000 meters, Katie reported. Hold position. Ben, your team ready? Ben's voice came through the comm. Ready, sir. Just give us the word. Ryan watched the Council cruiser. Inside that ship were Vrelneth warriors who believed they were invincible. They had probably never lost a battle in their entire lives. They did not know that death was floating 1,000 meters away, waiting patiently. Launch boarding pods. Silent insertion. 4 small pods detached from the Shadow Runner. They were coated in material that absorbed sensor waves and made them nearly invisible. They drifted toward the Council cruiser like falling leaves, matching its speed perfectly. The pods attached to the cruiser's hull with soft magnetic clamps. Ben and his team went to work immediately. They cut through the outer armor using plasma torches that made no sound in the vacuum of space. Within 2 minutes, they had created an entry point. We are inside, Ben reported quietly. The assault team moved through the Council ship like shadows. They had studied Vrelneth ship designs for months. They knew every corridor, every junction, every weak point. Human intelligence had been thorough. The first Vrelneth guard never knew what happened. Ben moved behind him and struck precisely. The guard collapsed without making a sound. The team dragged the body into a storage closet and continued forward. Bridge team, move up. Engineering team, go down. We take both simultaneously. The team split into two groups. Ben led the bridge assault. Corporal Lisa Morgan took engineering. Both teams moved with absolute silence. On the bridge, 6 Frelneth officers monitored their displays lazily. Patrol duty was boring. Nothing ever happened in this sector. They talked about shore leave and complained about the food. Ben's team burst through the door in a synchronized rush. 6 shots, 6 bodies. The entire bridge crew was dead before any of them could reach an alarm. Bridge secure, Ben reported. Engineering secure, Lisa confirmed a moment later. Good work. Strip the navigation data and communication logs. We have 10 minutes before the escort ships notice something is wrong. The team moved quickly. They downloaded everything from the ship's computers. Council security was decent, but human hackers had created programs that bypassed it easily. Within 8 minutes, they had everything. Extraction, Ben ordered. The team returned to their entry point and sealed the hull behind them. The boarding pods detached and drifted back to the Shadow Runner. 3 minutes later, they were aboard and the pods were stowed. Katie, move us out. Maximum stealth. The Shadow Runner glided away from the Council cruiser silently. By the time the escort ships realized something was wrong, the human ship was already 10,000 kilometers away and completely invisible to their sensors. Ryan watched as the escort ship surrounded the cruiser, confused and alarmed. They scanned for threats but found nothing. They sent messages demanding answers but received only silence. Set course for the rendezvous point, Ryan ordered. Nice work, everyone. Amy pulled up her display and marked another Council ship as neutralized. Across the border region, 30 other human hunter teams were doing the same thing. Every day, more Council patrols disappeared without explanation. On Celestia Prime, the Council was beginning to realize something was very wrong. Reports came in from every border sector. Ships were vanishing. No distress calls. No debris, no survivors. Just empty space where patrols used to be. Cassander studied the reports with growing concern. He had expected humanity to mobilize their fleet. He had expected negotiations. He had expected fear. Instead, there was only silence from human space and disappearing ships everywhere else. How many vessels have we lost? He demanded. His aide, a nervous Pelthan named Drelix, checked the numbers. 47 confirmed missing. Another 23 overdue for check-in. 70 ships? In 6 weeks? Yes, Arbiter. Cassander felt something unfamiliar in his chest. It took him a moment to recognize it as fear. What is happening out there? We do not know. No ship has survived to report. We find them days later, drifting and empty. Deploy additional patrols. Double the escort numbers, Drelix hesitated. Arbiter, we have already done that. The larger patrols disappeared just like the smaller ones. Cassander stared at the star map on his display. 70 ships vanished and humanity had said nothing. No threats, no demands, no communication at all. They are hunting us, he said quietly. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Kevin Barnes reviewed reports from all 30 hunter teams. The results were better than expected. Council ships were being eliminated at a steady pace and not a single human casualty so far. General Scott Palmer stood beside him, reading the same reports. The Council is starting to panic. Their patrols are becoming erratic. Good, Kevin said. Fear is a weapon too. When do we move to the next phase? Kevin checked the calendar. 53 days until their deadline. We continue hunter operations for another 20 days. Then we show them what happens when they threaten Earth. Scott looked at the deployment orders for the defense fleet. You really think we can destroy their enforcement armada? Kevin smiled coldly. They are sending 300 ships to intimidate us. Big, proud vessels with all their weapons showing. They will broadcast threats and expect us to surrender. And what will we do? We will surround them before they even see us. We will strike from every direction at once, and we will show them that humans do not fight fair when survival is at stake. On the Shadow Runner, Ryan and his crew were already moving toward their next target. The mission briefing showed a larger Council supply convoy. 12 ships heavily guarded. That is a lot of targets, Katie said quietly. Ryan nodded. Which is why we are meeting up with 3 other hunter teams. We take them all at once. Amy looked up from her sensors. Sir, that is 48 ships total if we hit all their convoys simultaneously. I know. Tomorrow is going to be a busy day for the Council. They are going to lose 50 ships in a 6-hour period. Ben came up from the crew quarters. My team is ready whenever you are, sir. Ryan looked at his crew. They were young, most of them in their 20s, but they were also the best humanity had ever trained. Every single person on this ship had volunteered for this mission knowing they might never return home. "Get some rest," Ryan said. "Tomorrow we remind the Council why they should have left humanity alone." The Shadowrunner continued its silent flight through the darkness. Behind it, dozens of other human hunter ships moved toward their targets. The Council had declared war on humanity, expecting quick surrender. Instead, they had awakened something they did not understand. They had provoked predators who knew how to kill efficiently and without mercy. The hunt was only beginning. Day 90 arrived like any other morning, but Admiral Gregory Mason knew it would be remembered forever. He stood in the command center of Cerberus Station, a massive orbital platform that defended Earth's outer system. Around him, hundreds of officers worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. Sensors showing Council fleet entering the system, reported Commander Jake Peterson from Tactical. 300 ships as expected. They are broadcasting on all frequencies. Gregory nodded slowly. "Put it on speakers." Cassander's voice filled the command center. "Humans of Earth, your time has expired. You have not complied with Council directives. You have attacked our ships. You have chosen war. We have brought overwhelming force to ensure your surrender. Power down your weapons and prepare to receive boarding parties. Resistance will result in the destruction of your homeworld." The command center was silent. Every person present knew what was about to happen. They had trained for this moment. They were ready. Gregory picked up the comm unit. "All ships, this is Admiral Mason. Execute Hunter Protocol." Across the solar system, humanity's fleet had been waiting in complete stealth. Ships positioned in asteroid fields behind moons in the shadows of planets. 75 warships. Each one designed with a single purpose: to kill efficiently. Captain Lisa Morgan commanded the destroyer Silent Knife. Her ship had been hiding in the shadow of Jupiter's moon Europa for 3 days, waiting patiently. When the order came through, she smiled. "Drop stealth. All weapons hot. Target the cruiser at grid 7-3. The Silent Knife appeared on Council sensors like a ghost materializing from nothing. Before the Council ship could react, Lisa's weapons officer launched a spread of kinetic missiles. The missiles were simple metal rods accelerated to incredible speeds. No warheads, no explosives, just mass moving fast enough to punch through any shield the Council had. Physics was the weapon. The Council cruiser's shields flared and collapsed. The kinetic rods tore through the hull, ripping the ship apart from the inside. It exploded in silence, debris scattering into space. "Target destroyed," Lisa's weapons officer reported. "Reloading. Find the next one," Lisa ordered. All around the Council fleet, human ships were appearing and striking. The Council's formation, so proud and organized moments before, turned into chaos. Ships tried to maneuver, tried to return fire, tried to understand where the attacks were coming from. Commander Jake Peterson led his fighter squadron through the confusion. His ship was small and fast, armed with precise weapons designed to target specific systems. He dove toward a Council battleship, avoiding its defensive fire easily. Jake to wing, target their engine clusters, make them unable to run. His squadron followed him in perfect formation. They hit the battleship's engines with laser fire, melting through armor and destroying power systems. The massive ship went dark, drifting helplessly. "Move to the next target," Jake ordered. "Keep moving, do not give them a stationary target." On Cerberus Station, Gregory watched the tactical display. Red markers representing Council ships were disappearing rapidly. His own forces showed minimal damage. "Council fleet is breaking formation," reported Tactical. "They are trying to retreat." "Do not let them," Gregory said coldly. "Pursuit teams, eliminate any ship attempting to flee. We let only one ship escape as planned." Lieutenant Helen Price commanded the fast attack ship Razor. Her job was to hunt down runners. When a Council transport tried to turn and flee, she was already moving to intercept. Helm, intercept course. Weapons, disable their drive. The Razor was faster than any Council ship. It closed the distance in seconds. A precise shot crippled the transport's engines. Another shot destroyed their communications array. "Life support intact, engines dead," her weapons officer confirmed. "Leave them," Helen ordered. "They can drift until someone finds them. Move to the next runner." The battle was not elegant. It was not honorable. It was a massacre. Human ships used every advantage they had. They attacked from multiple directions simultaneously. They targeted weak points with surgical precision. They used the asteroids and planets as cover. They fought like pack hunters taking down much larger prey. Captain Stephen Cole commanded the heavy destroyer Thunder. His ship had more armor and weapons than most human vessels, designed to take punishment while dealing massive damage. When a Council dreadnought tried to organize a counterattack, Stephen moved to engage it directly. All forward weapons. Target that dreadnought. I want it gone. The Thunder's railguns fired in sequence, each shot hitting the same point on the enemy's shields. The Council ship was powerful, but human weapons were designed differently. Instead of energy weapons that shields could absorb, humans used solid projectiles that shields could only deflect for so long. The dreadnought's shields collapsed after the 7th shot. The 8th shot punched through its bridge. The 9th shot hit its reactor. The massive vessel exploded so violently that nearby Council ships were damaged by the debris. Target destroyed, Stephen reported calmly, moving to support the western flank. Cassander watched in horror from his command ship as his fleet was systematically destroyed. This was impossible. Humans were new to space. They should have been easy to defeat. Instead, they were everywhere at once, striking with tactics he had never seen before. Get us out of here, he screamed. Full retreat. But there was nowhere to run. Human ships blocked every escape route. They had planned this perfectly, letting the Council fleet enter deep into the system before closing the trap. Sir, we are surrounded, his tactical officer reported, voice shaking. All escape vectors blocked. Cassander felt true terror for the first time in his long life. Surrender! Broadcast surrender on all channels. On Cerberus Station, Gregory heard the surrender offer and smiled without humor. Deny it, no surrender accepted. Continue the attack, sir, his executive officer questioned. They are offering to surrender. Gregory turned to face him. Did they offer Earth a chance to surrender peacefully? No, they came here to threaten our homeworld. They came to enslave us. We do not accept surrender from people who would destroy our planet. The battle continued. One by one, Council ships were destroyed. Some tried to fight back, but human tactics were too effective. Some tried to flee, but human ships were faster. Some tried to hide, but human sensors found them. 3 hours after it began, the battle was over. 299 Council ships were destroyed. Only one small courier vessel remained, exactly as planned. Gregory opened a communication channel to that ship. You are being allowed to leave. You will carry a message back to your Council. He transmitted a video message he had recorded earlier. In it, he stood in front of a display showing Earth looking directly at the camera. You called us aggressive. You called us violent. You were right. But you made one fatal mistake. You assumed we were prey. You assumed we would be easy to control. You assumed we would surrender like all the others. He paused, letting the words sink in. Humanity evolved as hunters. We climbed to the top of our food chain by being better predators than anything else on our planet. We survived every challenge our world threw at us. We did not come to space as victims. We came as the most dangerous species ever to leave our world. Another pause. Tell your Council this. Humanity does not surrender. We do not submit. And when someone threatens our home, we do not just fight back. We hunt them down and eliminate them completely. Every ship you sent here is destroyed. Every warrior you sent here is dead. And if you send more, they will die too. Gregory leaned closer to the camera. Leave us alone. Let us explore the stars in peace. Because if you force us to come to you, we will not stop until your Council is nothing but a memory. The courier ship fled the system at maximum speed. On board, the surviving crew watched the message in stunned silence. Around them, debris from 300 warships drifted through space, a graveyard of Council pride. On Cerberus Station, Gregory's crew celebrated their victory quietly. There was satisfaction, but no joy. They had done what was necessary to protect Earth, but they all knew this war was far from over. Captain Lisa Morgan docked her ship and headed to the debriefing. As she walked through the corridor, she passed a viewport showing Earth below, blue and beautiful and safe. We did it, Jake said, falling into step beside her. We won one battle, Lisa corrected. The Council will not accept this defeat easily. Then we will be ready for them. Lisa looked at him. Yes, we will. Because that is what humans do. We survive, we adapt, and we win. The news of the fleet's destruction reached Celestia Prime 18 hours later. Cassander watched the courier ship's recordings 3 times, his 4 hands trembling. 300 ships gone, destroyed by a species that had barely left their own star system a century ago. Mobilize everything, he ordered. Call in every fleet from every sector. Empty the border stations if necessary. We will crush them with numbers they cannot match. But while the Council scrambled to respond, humanity had already moved to the next phase of their plan. Colonel Vincent Shaw sat in a transport ship, headed toward Celestia Prime itself, reviewing mission files one final time. Beside him, 49 other soldiers checked their equipment in silence. They were not regular military. They were operators from Earth's most elite special forces units. Every person on this ship had volunteered knowing they might never return home. Their mission was simple in concept, terrifying in execution: infiltrate the Council's capital world and eliminate its leadership. 30 minutes to drop point, the pilot announced. Vincent stood and addressed his team. You all know the plan. We are ghosts. We move silent. We strike fast. We leave no witnesses. The Council thinks they are safe in their capital. We are going to teach them that nowhere is safe from humans. Sergeant Nicole Graham nodded from her position. She was intelligence specialist, responsible for hacking Council systems and providing navigation data. She had been studying Celestia Prime's security networks for 6 months, finding every weakness, every blind spot, every flaw. Security systems will go down 30 seconds before each team moves, Nicole confirmed. I will guide you through the patrol routes in real time. The transport ship entered Celestia Prime's atmosphere, using forged Council identification codes. To any observer, they were just another cargo vessel bringing supplies to the capital. They landed at a commercial port on the edge of the city. The team split into 5 groups of 10, each with a specific target. Vincent led the primary team toward the grand chamber where the Council members resided. They moved through the city using underground maintenance tunnels that Nicole had identified. Celestia Prime was beautiful. Towers of crystal and metal reached toward the sky. Gardens filled with alien plants created spots of green throughout the urban landscape. Citizens from dozens of species walked the streets peacefully, unaware that death moved beneath their feet. First checkpoint ahead. Nicole's voice came through Vincent's earpiece. 3 guards. Security system disabled in 3, 2, 1. The cameras went dark. Vincent and 2 others emerged from a maintenance access panel behind the guards. 3 quick strikes. 3 bodies fell silently. The team dragged them into the tunnel and continued forward. They moved through the city like smoke, appearing and disappearing without trace. Nicole had mapped every security system, every guard rotation, every camera blind spot. The team exploited every weakness perfectly. Above ground, Captain Matthew Cole commanded a very different operation. His battle group of 12 ships had been conducting hit-and-run attacks on Council propaganda facilities throughout their territory. If violence was part of humanity's strategy, so was destroying the Council's credibility. Target confirmed. His communications officer reported. Council broadcast station on Pralum 7. Matthew studied the station on his display. It was the largest propaganda center in this sector, broadcasting Council messages to 50 worlds. Taking it offline would be a significant blow to their information control. Deploy the infiltration team. I want their archives copied before we destroy the facility. Lieutenant Carlos Martinez led the infiltration team. They used the same stealth technology as the hunter ships, making them nearly invisible as they approached the station. The Council's security was designed to stop conventional attacks, not invisible enemies. Carlos and his team breached the station through a cargo airlock. Inside, they moved with practiced efficiency, stunning guards and disabling alarms before anyone could react. Within 10 minutes, they had reached the main computer core. Downloading now, reported Specialist Emma Wright, connecting her equipment to the Council's systems. Holy hell, Captain. You need to see this. Matthew watched as data streamed back to his ship. The Council's propaganda files contained information about dozens of species they had conquered, threatened, manipulated, destroyed, evidence of war crimes, cultural genocide, forced compliance. Copy everything, Matthew ordered. We are going to broadcast this across the entire galaxy. Meanwhile, Vincent's team had reached the residential complex where Council members lived. These were not military barracks or fortified bunkers. They were luxury apartments because the Council had never imagined anyone would attack them here. Target location confirmed, Nicole reported. Cassander is in his quarters. Minimal security. Vincent and his team scaled the outside of the building using climbing equipment. They reached Cassander's balcony on the 47th floor and cut through the glass door silently. Inside, the apartment was decorated with artifacts from conquered worlds, trophies of council dominance. Cassander sat at his desk, reviewing military reports with growing desperation. His back was to the balcony. He never heard Vincent enter. "Humans do not negotiate with tyrants," Vincent said quietly. Cassander spun around, reaching for an alarm. Vincent moved faster, crossing the room in 2 strides. His blade found its mark with surgical precision. The council's lead arbiter collapsed without making a sound. "Target 1 eliminated," Vincent reported, moving to extraction. Across the city, 4 other teams completed their mission simultaneously. Every council member who had voted for humanity's enslavement died within a 5-minute window. Coordinated, precise, absolute. By the time security forces realized something was wrong, Vincent's team was already back in the tunnels, moving toward their extraction point. They emerged at the cargo port exactly on schedule, boarded their transport, and departed Celestia Prime before any alarm went off. Captain Matthew Cole's ship had already left Prelim 7 after destroying the propaganda station. But before leaving, he had broadcast all the stolen information across every communication channel he could access. Council crimes, council lies, council brutality, everything exposed for the galaxy to see. On dozens of worlds, species that had lived under council control for generations watched the broadcasts in shock. The council was not their protector. They were conquerors, oppressors, liars. Rebellions began within hours. On Thelos Minor, the local population stormed council administrative buildings. On Vardax, the planetary government declared independence. On Kelthar Prime, council representatives were arrested and charged with war crimes. The council's authority, built over 12,000 years, began to crumble. Back on Earth, Admiral Kevin Barnes received reports from both operations. Vincent's team had succeeded with 0 casualties. Matthew's broadcasts were causing chaos throughout council territory. The plan was working better than expected. President Lauren Hayes met with him in the war room. "The council is collapsing. Their member species are turning against them." "Good," Kevin said. "That was the goal. Make them unable to coordinate a response against us. What is our next move?" Kevin pulled up a star map. "We continue hunter operations. We continue exposing their crimes, and we wait for them to send another fleet to Earth. Because they will. Pride will demand it, and when they come, we destroy them again and again, until they understand that humanity cannot be conquered." On Celestia Prime, the council tried to function without its leadership. Deputy members argued about how to respond to the attacks. Some wanted to negotiate with humanity. Others demanded total war. The chamber that had once spoken with one unified voice was now filled with discord and fear. Vincent and his team reached Earth safely. As they disembarked, General Scott Palmer was waiting to greet them. "Outstanding work, Colonel." Vincent nodded tiredly. "We did what was necessary, sir. You eliminated the council leadership without losing a single operator. That is more than outstanding. They made it easy, sir. They believed they were untouchable. They forgot that no one is safe from a determined enemy." Scott looked at him seriously. "Do you think we went too far? Assassination of civilian leaders?" Vincent's expression hardened. "They were not civilians, sir. They were leaders of a military government that threatened to destroy Earth. They were legitimate military targets, and even if they were not, I would do it again to protect our world." On the Shadowrunner, Ryan Phillips received new orders. Instead of hunting council ships, they were now assigned to protect the rebel worlds that had declared independence. Humanity was not just destroying the council. They were building something new. New mission parameters, Ryan told his crew. "We are now the guardians of free worlds. Any council ship that tries to suppress rebellions becomes our target." Amy looked up from her sensors. "That could mean engaging with much larger forces." Ryan smiled. "Then we will have to be smarter and faster than before." "Nothing new for us." Katie plotted a course toward the nearest rebel world, heading to Thelos Minor. There are reports of a council battle group heading there to crush the rebellion. "Then we better get there first," Ryan said. "The council is about to learn that humanity protects its friends as fiercely as it hunts its enemies." 6 months had passed since the Council issued their ultimatum to humanity. In that short time, the galaxy had changed completely. The grand chamber on Celestia Prime stood empty, its crystal walls reflecting no voices, its seats holding no representatives. The government that had ruled for 12,000 years was gone. Ambassador Daniel Wright stood in that empty chamber now, preparing for a very different assembly. Around him, workers arranged seating for representatives from 40 different worlds, not council members, not conquerors, but free people who had thrown off council control and wanted to build something better. President Lauren Hayes had asked Daniel to speak on humanity's behalf, to explain what came next, to make clear that humanity did not want to replace the council as new overlords. It was a delicate message to deliver. The representatives began arriving. The Thalos delegation, who had been first to rebel, the Vardak's ambassador, whose world had declared independence after seeing Matthew Cole's broadcasts, the Kelthar representatives who had arrested council officials and put them on trial, dozens more, all looking to humanity with a mixture of gratitude and fear. Daniel waited until everyone was seated before beginning to speak. He stood at the center of the chamber where he had once stood alone, threatened and dismissed. Now he spoke from a position of strength, but he had to be careful not to abuse it. 6 months ago, I stood in this chamber and heard the council demand humanity's surrender. They gave us 90 days to give up our freedom or face destruction. They expected us to comply like all species before us. They were wrong. The representatives listened in absolute silence. They had all heard stories of humanity's response. The hunter ships that appeared from nowhere, the battle at Sol System, the assassination of council leadership, the broadcasts that exposed council crimes. Humans had done what seemed impossible. We did not want this war, Daniel continued. We would have explored the stars peacefully. We would have traded, learned, and grown alongside other species. But the council forced our hand. They threatened our home. They demanded we surrender our freedom. They left us no choice but to fight. He paused, looking around the chamber at the alien faces watching him. Now the council is gone. Their fleets are scattered. Their government has collapsed. And you all have questions about what comes next. Will humanity become the new rulers? Will we demand tribute? Will we enforce our will on other worlds? Daniel's voice was firm. No, we will not. Humanity did not fight for dominance. We fought for survival. We do not want an empire. We do not want subjects. We do not want to rule over you. Confusion rippled through the crowd. One representative, a Pelthon named Grexel, stood to speak. But you have the power now. You defeated the council. You have the strongest military we have seen. If you do not lead, there will be chaos. Daniel nodded. You are right that we have military power. But power alone does not make good government. We propose something different. An alliance of equals. A coalition where each world keeps its sovereignty, but agrees to mutual defense and cooperation. Another representative stood. This one was Zarian, her skin showing colors of skepticism. Why should we trust you? Every powerful species eventually seeks to control others. Why would humans be different? Daniel smiled slightly. Because of our history. Yes, we fought many wars on Earth. Yes, we were violent. But we also learned from our mistakes. We built democracy. We established rights. We learned to value freedom above all else. These lessons cost us dearly. We will not forget them. He pulled up a holographic display showing a proposed treaty. This is what we offer. An alliance where each member world maintains complete sovereignty. No species can dictate to another. Decisions require majority agreement. Military forces remain under local control but can coordinate for mutual defense. And what does humanity gain? Asked Grexel. You fought the council. You lost ships and soldiers. Why do this for nothing in return? We gain peace, Daniel replied simply. We gain trade partners. We gain the ability to explore without constantly looking over our shoulders. And we gain something perhaps more important, proof that strength and freedom can coexist. The debate continued for hours. Some representatives were convinced immediately. Others had concerns that needed addressing. But gradually a consensus formed. The alternative to cooperation was either chaos or another empire, and no one wanted that. On Earth, Admiral Kevin Barnes walked through the Memorial Gardens one last time before retiring. The war was over. His job was done. Only 43 names were carved into the memorial wall. 43 humans who had died to protect their world and free others. It was a remarkably small number considering what they had accomplished. The council lost millions. Commander Ryan Phillips found Kevin standing in front of the memorial, his hand resting on the wall. The Shadowrunner had been decommissioned, its mission complete. Ryan was transitioning to training new crews in the tactics that had proven so effective. "Sir?" Ryan said quietly. Kevin turned. "Ryan, I heard they are putting you in charge of the training program." "Yes, sir. Teaching the next generation what we learned. Hopefully they never need to use it." Kevin nodded slowly. "But if they do, they will be ready. That is what matters." Ryan looked at the memorial wall. "Do you think they understand? The alien species, I mean. Do they understand what we did and why? Some do, some never will. But that is not why we fought. We fought because we had no other choice, and now?" Kevin smiled slightly. "Now we explore. Now we trade. Now we build. The fun parts of being in space without someone trying to conquer us." On Celestia Prime, the first meeting of the new alliance concluded with the signing of the treaty. 40 worlds joined immediately. The document was simple, focused on core principles: sovereignty, mutual defense, free trade, and protection of fundamental rights. Daniel watched as each representative placed their mark on the treaty. When the Thalos ambassador signed, she looked at him with gratitude. When the Vardax representative signed, he nodded with respect. When Grexel signed for the Pelthon worlds, he spoke quietly. "You could have ruled us all. Most species in your position would have." Daniel shook his head. "Most species did not evolve on Earth. We learned the hard way that freedom is more important than power." Back on Earth, Captain Lisa Morgan commanded the Silent Knife on its new mission: exploration. Instead of hunting council ships, she was mapping unknown sectors. Instead of preparing for battle, she was discovering new worlds. "Captain, we are picking up signals from an uncharted system," her sensor officer reported. "Looks like a pre-spaceflight civilization." Lisa smiled. "Mark it on the charts. We will report it to the survey teams. Maybe someday they will join us out here. Think they will be peaceful? Maybe, maybe not. But if they need help understanding the galaxy, we will be here. And if someone tries to conquer them like the Council tried with us, we will be here for that too." Lieutenant Carlos Martinez had taken command of a new program, the Protection Fleet. While exploration ships like Lisa's were discovering new worlds, Carlos and his team protected the Alliance members. They patrolled borders, responded to threats, and ensured no new tyrants rose to power. "Contact on sensors," his tactical officer reported. "Looks like pirates raiding a Thalos colony." "Intercept course," Carlos ordered. "Let us remind them that free worlds are under protection now." The protection fleet moved swiftly. The pirates, seeing human warships approaching, fled immediately. The reputation of human military capabilities had spread throughout the galaxy. Few were foolish enough to test it. On the Shadowrunner's replacement, the Deep Hunter, Sergeant Ben Hayes trained a new crew in boarding operations. His students listened carefully as he explained the techniques that had proven so effective against the Council. "Speed is important, but silence is everything," Ben taught. "An enemy that does not know you are there cannot defend against you. We are not stronger than most species. We are not tougher, but we are smarter, and that makes all the difference." One student raised her hand. "Sir, will we ever have to use these skills again?" Ben considered the question carefully. "I hope not. But hope is not a strategy. We train so that if threats emerge, we are ready. Peace is maintained through strength." On Celestia Prime, Daniel prepared to return to Earth. His work here was done. The Alliance was established. The free worlds were organizing their own government without human control. It was exactly what humanity had wanted. As his ship prepared to depart, Grexel came to see him off. "Ambassador Wright, I wanted to thank you personally. My people were slaves to the Council for 4,000 years. We never thought we could be free." Daniel smiled warmly. "You freed yourselves. We just gave you the opportunity. Will humanity really not try to control us, even when we make mistakes?" "Especially then," Daniel replied. "Freedom includes the right to make mistakes and learn from them. We will not be your masters. We will be your allies if you want us." Grexel's expression showed something like relief. "We do want that. Very much." The ship departed Celestia Prime and began the journey back to Earth. Daniel watched the planet shrink behind them, then turned to look forward at the stars ahead. The galaxy was open now. Free. Full of possibility instead of oppression. On Earth, President Lauren Hayes addressed the planet in a broadcast that would be heard across human space.